Hey,
Okay.
hey, everybody! Welcome back to another hour of Visitation Hour with Negra. Today I have Joe.
What's up?
But before we start, let's give a shout out to my sponsors, you guys. You already know Royalty Honey. Keep it hard. I already know you want to pack. I already know you want to pack.
Yeah, well, I'm married, man. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta keep it going, you know?
Yep, I get it. For the best jewelry, for his glory, and for the most fire is fire. Cali plug. And if you want to get a tattoo, Untouchables Tattoos. Today's episode again, Joe. Joe, tell us how you been since the last time you were here.
Everything's been good. Yeah, been good. God's still in control, so
Amen.
he's having his way, and I love that. So we're still working with the youth and doing our deal. Last time I was here, I think we were I work for a health food store called Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market, and I was working here in Chino, but that spot actually shut down. So now I
Oh
actually
dang.
go to Palm Springs every day. That's my new spot.
Oh
So
man, so that's like a mean drive.
it has a pretty good drive, But actually, believe it or not, it takes me the same amount of time to get there than it is to get here, but it's no traffic, so
Oh, that's
that's kind of
that's
cool.
good. Yeah, that's good. So shout out to you guys. I know I haven't been here for about 3 weeks, but I have been. I was, I was having personal things going on, and did have a cousin that passed away, and she's my first cousin, and it was an intense death.
I'm
Remember, I
sorry to
told you.
hear that you did.
Yeah,
Very,
because it
very sorry.
happened, and then I saw you with
Yes,
Ruben when you
yes,
brought Ruben.
I did.
Hey, Ruben is down, huh?
That fool's crazy, man. You know what I mean?
Crazy little crooked cop, huh?
What's funny about that is what's funny about that is I have other friends of mine that are cops. Like I have one of my friends that actually I went to Whittier High School with, and he was a cop at Whittier PD that knew him,
Yeah.
and he was like, oh yeah, that fool has done some stuff. Like
Hey, people were going hard on him in the comments.
it is what it is.
But
You know what I mean?
he knows that was gonna happen, and
Yeah, for sure.
what can we do?
Yeah,
So for the people that don't know much, like don't know your story, or tell us a little bit about you, what happened to Joe.
sure. So I started gangbanging right around 15 years old. I come from a single mom home. My mom really tried to do the best she could to keep me out of that kind of stuff, because we had family like uncles and cousins and things like that were in that lifestyle. And she tried to keep me out of all that, but that's just what I went towards.
Yeah, we know
Um,
we knew she was the best mom. She liked all the bougie stuff.
yeah, she
We
did. Yeah,
knew
yeah,
that
she's
she
pretty
took you to Glen Ivy.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, and on my first day out, which was pretty crazy.
Hey, you guys, imagine you're freaking. You just did how many years did you
I
do?
did 13 straight.
He did 13 years straight, guys. So just think about this, right? You just did 13 straight, and then not even 24 hours, you're at Glen Ivy, bro. You're at Glen Ivy with the robe. She touches you, you're just like a meat freaking.
Yeah, it was I mean I get what her intention was and it was pretty
She
cool,
didn't
but
know.
she didn't know. I mean, like at that time, the massage person, she told me, "Well, go ahead and get undressed to your comfort level." I'm like, "Well, what does that mean?" Like, like now I know. Now I'm like, "Pff, whatever, but back then it was and when she touched me it was more like rather than it was like like yeah, I think I walk out of there a little traumatized, but
Like,
it was good,
that's good.
it was good. But either which way, I come from a single mom home, I didn't meet my dad till I was 15 or 16 years old, and my dad wasn't really part of my life. I just really I don't know how to say like I wasn't really like yearning to go out into the neighborhood to find like that kind of like bond with people, but that's just where I ended up,
Yeah.
and so and I gave my the majority of my life to my neighborhood, which is in Uptown Whittier. So that's what I did, and I ended up doing 13 straight years in prison. I was validated. I did my last 6 years in the shoe, and that's probably the most important part for people to know. Like when you're in the shoe, you have no contact with anybody but your cellie.
Hey,
So
and tell us about because you also got hit,
I did, yes,
and you got hit when you first started your bid.
I did, yeah, in the county jail, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and tell us a little bit about that because this beginning of your journey of your incarceration has a lot to do with like how you did your whole time because bro, you were like make sure you do it Make sure you make sure you don't do it in my sleep, kind of
For
thing. That's
well, for sure.
scary.
Well, I mean, the thing is okay. So basically, what happened without putting too much out there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because at the end of the day, we still want to keep ourselves in a good
That's
position,
right.
right?
That's right.
Um, I was doing I was getting in a lot of drugs. I mean, I had I had the connection. I had a lot of love for my homies that were out there doing what I needed them to do to bring drugs in. And when you bring drugs in, they have to go to certain places.
Yeah.
And so I had a homie that was up there, and he ended up falling out of grace. And when he fell out of grace, because I was in connection with
With
him,
him.
it kind of fell down to me, and so I ended up getting hit. I got stabbed like 56 times or something like that. Three of my cellies, hit me and things like that. And it was what it was.
Yeah,
I
you
don't I don't
accepted it.
ever I don't ever like look at that like, oh my God, why me? Hey man, that's just part of the
You want to
program.
get your mic closer a little bit?
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go.
Cool. And so, it's just what it was. And I don't hold it against any of my cellies. I would have did the same thing,
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
in all my time of being locked up, I mean, I don't know if I should say this or not, but you know what I've had to do things to people that I really liked, because it just had to get done. And
Yeah,
I kind of felt like, if I do it rather than somebody else doing it, I'm not gonna take pleasure from that. I'm
yeah.
doing it because it has to get done, not because I'm gonna like score points or anything like that. And so you do things like that, and it
Which
is what
kind of
it
makes
is.
the heart feel a little like better. I mean, it's bad, but I feel like as far as like the connection, okay, this is gonna be horrible. It sounds bad what I'm
Yeah,
gonna say, but like the connection with like you have, because obviously when you're in there, I don't care who you are, you have a little connection with God.
for sure.
I don't care. Well, I don't know. There's people that don't, right? But
Right, right, right.
I feel like I always had a connection with God, and that's where I started getting my connection with God was when I first started going to jail.
Okay.
So like like this is me talking, right? Like, hi Diosito, I gotta do this. I have no choice. But do we have a choice? Yes.
Right.
But like, no, kind of vibes. So that's kind of like what you would probably tell yourself.
I think more like, I wasn't really thinking about the God thing. I mean,
Okay.
I'm a born again Christian now,
Yeah.
and I love Jesus and everything about what He's got going on. I love it. But back then, it was just more like, I had to do what I had to do because it had to get done. But the way that I see it is, for me, looking at a homie that I really cared about, I'm going to rather do that because it has to get done rather than being like, I'm gonna take pleasure from this,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this fool. You know what I mean?
I'm
And
just getting
and
it.
so for me, it was more like, let me do that because I already feel like, um I'm not gonna take pleasure from it, and I don't want some fool coming in and hitting that homie thinking like, yeah, like I like that.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
And
saying?
be
And so,
making him a bigger, worse monster on your
for
friend.
sure, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and, and so, I've had to do things like that, which is fine. I mean, it just, I want to say that a lot of the time when I was here last time, I talked about, that's just what I was doing,
Yeah.
and so it just comes with the territory,
Yeah.
and if you're living that kind of lifestyle, that's what's gonna happen. And so
Yeah.
I had to do those things, and we did them. But when I got hit, I mean, afterwards, it was more like, it wasn't like, why did this happen? Oh my God, it's like, because for me, I'm always that kind of person who will, like, if something bad happens, life is life. Right. And so why not me? you know, I righteously didn't do anything wrong in that moment, but at the end of the day, bad hits happen to people all the time.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And so for me, it was kind of like, my mentality wasn't like, oh my God, why is this? Let me get away, things like that. It was just like, well, I
You
ain't going
didn't
out
even
like
know
that.
why.
I didn't. But it didn't matter because at the end of the day, it was like, I already know I didn't do anything wrong. So I always feel like, if you keep on doing what you got to do, when the dust settles, the truth will always stand.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so that's what I did. And at the end of the day, the truth stood. And I mean, for crying out loud, like, I ended up being validated as a Mexican mafia associate, and I ended up doing 6 years in the shoe, and I was back there with all of them, and they all knew that what was going on, and
Yeah, you were
so
cool.
I was good, and so that, which was cool.
Yeah. But every new Sally that you had, you would tell him what?
I would let them know, like, hey man, this happened to me, blah blah blah, and but especially when it first happened, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day,
But
it
what
was
would
like,
you tell them?
well, I mean,
As far as like, remember how you said like, oh, he just don't give me one. I'm sleeping.
yeah. Well, the thing is like, when I got to my, how can I say this? Like, so like, when, because it happened right before I was gonna catch the chain, right? And so like I was waiting to go to high power, from I was in the gang module when it happened, and then I ended up in the hole, and then I was trying to get to high power because in high power I figured I would get all the answers that I needed
Yeah.
to know who, what, where, when, why, because I didn't have any of that. And so but I ended up catching the chain in the middle of all that. So when I got to Delano, which was reception, when I got to my cell, I mean, I had a bunch of fresh puncture wounds, So my cellie was like,
So what this
"Bro,
for?
what's up with that?" And so I told him like, "Hey, homie, this is, I don't know a whole lot, but this is what I'm involved in. This is what I'm doing. This is what I know. This is where I've been. This is the kind of things that are going down." And I think that he was from San Diego, and I think one of the things that he really that he liked about it was he said, he asked me outright, like, what would you do if a filero came underneath this door right now, and I was like, and it was meant for me, and he said, yeah. I said, well, I would give it to you, even if it ended up in my hands. I would give it to you and wish you luck, brother, because you're gonna need that. you know I
Yeah.
said, but like, because it's not that, something like that isn't meant for me. I mean, it wasn't meant for
Because
him.
you
It's meant
know,
for me,
yeah.
right? Which is fine. I mean, you got to walk out whatever it is that you've
That's so
had before.
scary.
But that's it. It
Yeah,
just
I mean,
it is
yeah,
what
man.
it
You
is.
don't think in your heart, you were like, man, what if fucking really I have to like die or something?
Well, I mean, you die, you die. You know what
I
I
would have
mean?
been
Like,
terrified.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of one of those things that, like, you're out there on the streets, you're
Mm,
gang banging, you're doing your deal. You know what
you
I
just
mean?
don't know.
It's just, death comes with that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
for
almost like
sure.
the military, right? Like, I have a good friend of mine that's in the military, and he's a combat vet. And he was actually a sergeant, and he used to teach Marines, how to kill, but bare hands. And one of the things he said, dude, when you join the military, there's two things that you have to really take into your heart. One is that you're willing to kill, and the second is that you're willing to die.
Die. Hey,
And
that
it's the
is so
same
true, though. It's the
exact
same
thing.
thing, though, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. But except one has honor and the other one's kind of janky,
Yeah, yeah,
because when you're out there on the street doing crime, that's janky stuff,
yeah,
so,
yeah.
and it's hard to run into a whole lot of solid people in that. But either which way, I ended up getting my cellie, and I told him what I told him, and he said, you know what, bro, I believe you. I believe that you weren't doing anything like that was like scandalous to get hit, and so we
Yeah.
have your back. And I appreciated that. And so, we went through that. And then my next cellie was already a dude who was in the gang module. So when I ended up in Corcoran, he ended up being my cellie for a while. First when you get there and going through orientation, and he ended up my cellie on the main line. But I was on the main line for not too long because I ended up,
Getting,
I ended up going to the hole for
yeah.
something, and I was there for a year. But every cellie that came in, it was like, hey, bro, this is what's going on. I don't know what's cracking, but either which way, if I got something coming, just let me know, and let's at least
Wake
handle
me up.
let's handle our business on our feet.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
don't hit me in my sleep, bro. Because I'm gonna be straight with you, nigga. Okay? In the county jail, we had this moment where, we did something, and somebody was in their sleep, and I never felt right about that. I always felt like, dude, what a little freaking punk ass move that was. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
never felt good about that. So ever after that happened, every time that something had
And
to
that probably
happen,
haunts you a little bit, huh?
well, it did. It doesn't no more. You know what I mean? But back then, it was like it never set right with me.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like, dude, that's a coward move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at least let that fuck it
Fool,
up.
if you really got him, you know what I mean? Like you'll wake somebody up and say, "Hey, fool, you got this coming, and let's roll." And
Yeah.
and that's what a man does, right?
And then I just,
That
yeah,
sneaky stuff coming from behind, like you don't know this.
yeah,
Like I don't like all that, man.
yeah.
I
That's
don't.
not cool.
But that was then, and
Yeah, that was
either
definitely a
which
long
way, I
time
was
ago.
letting my cellies
Yeah.
know at that time, like, hey man, just don't hit me in my sleep, bro. Like, I mean, let's be men about
Yeah,
this. And
yeah.
if I got something
At
coming,
least you
bro,
got really good Sallies, and
and I did, I did,
they weren't. I mean, because I'm sure there's like there's men there, or even women, just in general, that are just they'll go out of their way to like ask questions
for sure.
just because they're bored.
Well, you
And
should
they just
ask
like, yeah,
questions.
but there's some people that just like to push up on people, like to
Oh, well,
feel their like, oh, like their little power kind of vibe.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
You know?
I mean, especially when you're coming from somebody who's coming from that, you feel like, oh, well, you're down here because that happened to you, and now I'm
And
gonna,
you know what?
you
Those are the
know.
kind of people, right? I don't care. Those are the kind of people that get out of prison and want to push up on people, thinking that they're like outside high power and they're outside real world.
Oh man, I have stories. I have stories, man.
That's something that like bothers me to the max. Like literally, there's like so many. Like, bro, okay, relax.
Right.
Want to act that way? Take your ass inside. They need you in there.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I do. I have stories. 'Cause, when I got out, I got out, and I didn't give my life to the Lord until like 5, 6 years later,
Yeah, I remember you
and
told
so
me.
I was super active out there on the streets and, doing my deal. And, and I got close to a lot of drug dealers because I was using, and, they like having me in the pocket because I knew who I knew and I was doing what I was doing. And so I would have guys that would come out there and try to push their weight on some people that I knew. And so then when you start sitting there and you're talking to them, like, they try to come at you strong, and you're like, homie, like, you know what? If you talk to me on any yard, you would already have metal in your neck right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just settle down and let's talk like men right here. You know what I mean? Like, calm down. You ain't
Yes, like
intimidating nobody here,
I
right?
hate that. And I'm
And
a girl, and I just watch it because obviously I can't give my input like as much as I want to,
for
right?
sure,
Like,
for sure,
it's not
yeah,
my place.
for sure. Well, I mean,
Can I make it my place? Oh, you better believe it. Then these fools are gonna be thinking I'm pushing up on them.
right. Well, anybody who's from a neighborhood has their say. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're solid and you're from your
Yeah,
barrio
but
and
it's
you're
just
doing
like
your
if you're
deal.
the one in the
Like,
streets actually doing things, like, hey, relax.
right.
Stick to your job, stick to whatever you're doing. Like, damn well you're not out there writing the damn walls.
Right, right, right. I mean, if you're right on the walls, then you're pretty low on the totem pole. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
not even that. Like,
right,
if you're writing on walls, that means you're super active.
right. Well, I mean, yes, but I mean, like,
Because you're not a team.
depending on where you are in the level, like if you're just
Yes.
starting off, right, you're trying to make a name for yourself, you do all that,
Yes. Well,
right?
that's your.
But once you're already established and everything like that, you're right on walls no more. You're not doing
No,
that no more. You know what I mean?
definitely
Like,
not.
yeah,
Definitely not.
for sure.
But still, you want to be crazy? Go do some crazy stuff, you know?
Right, right.
Anyways, let's move
But
forward.
they're all out there,
Let's move forward.
But getting onto your question when you said like has anything like happened to me good or bad since I've been out there,
Yeah.
I actually I neglected to say this when I was on the show last time, but when I got locked up to do my 13-year bid, I actually my crimey I took the rap for everything. So like when we got locked up, I took everything because he had just got done doing 10 years and he was in YA and things like that. And so I just wanted to let him go. So I ended up taking the rap for the gun and taking the for
Yeah.
everything else. And so like his stepson actually reached out to me
After the show.
after the show,
Oh, that was very nice.
and a little and he actually knows you guys. His name is Willie. Wicked Willie is
Oh,
what they
shout
call
out to
it.
Wicked. We love him.
I was just
Shout
on
out
the
to
phone with
Wicked
him
Willie.
before I
Yeah,
was
we
coming
love
over here,
him.
and he's like, "Dude, I've known Negro and I come for a long, long time." And and he was like, "Dude," because when he hit me up, he was like, "Is this Camo from Woody Barrio Locals that was with da da da?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me. Who's this?" And he was like, "Well, actually, I'm Giant's, stepson." And I was like, "Oh, dude, like, so we started like going back and forth, and he was telling me, so you're the reason why he got out early, huh?"
Well, that's good though.
It-
That's good.
yeah.
Let me ask you something else.
Yes, ma'am.
How was the feedback? Like, were you getting positive feedback? Like, how was that positive, negative feedback on your episode?
I got a lot of positive feedback. There's a lot of negativity in my life up until the point where I gave my life to Jesus. But once that happened, it just changed everything. And I have my daughter here today, and and when we gave our lives to the Lord, she was 10 years old. And so she was, she got the opportunity to witness what it was before
Your
and what it's
change.
like now.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. And so I actually have pastors reach out to me and say, "Dude, I have a story like yours." There's one guy, his name is Desi, and he's actually out there in Temecula. And one of the things that he started telling me was like, "Hey, dude, I have a story similar to yours. Did much time, got out, and gave my life to Jesus, things like that." He was like, "And I just want to help people." And so one of the things that when you invited me back, which I really appreciate, thank you,
You're welcome.
is I wanted to come here and let people know that, like, if you're in that place, when you're at your bottom, because everybody's bottom is different,
Yes.
okay? If you're at your bottom and you need help, no matter what it is, whether it be like, hey man, I want to get sober, I want to give my life to the Lord, I just want to get away from everything that I'm doing, I'm tired, that is available to you. And he's one of the pastors that I actually reached out to and told him like, hey bro, like if somebody was to reach out to your show and said, hey man, I need help, what could I do to get that? Um could I send him to you? And he's like, dude, I have a network of people all over Southern
Yes.
California
Like, here you go. Here, reach out to this man.
for
Reach out
sure.
to this man. Reach out to this man
For
for
sure, for
sure.
homes, for sober livings, for things like that, and so if you're out there and you need help, just know that it's there's hope is there, and it's there for all of us.
Yeah.
And if you need that, if you're watching today and you're sitting there going like, man, dude, like I want what you have, Joe, you can get it. It's
Yeah.
it's it's not far from you, man. It just takes one quick decision, and if you want to get away and get into like a place like a home and things like that, we can help you with that. Reach out to the
Yeah.
show and we can
Because
help you with that.
I believe there was a gentleman. Can you go down up, scroll up to the chat? Smoke Dog. Congratulations on your 70 days being sober on your 20-year binge.
Dang, congratulations,
Yeah,
brother.
congratulations. I know it's like super hard, like, but I feel like 70 days is already like you're good. You're already feeling yourself. It's
For
hard.
sure. Well,
It's
that's two and a
hard.
half months right there, like
Yeah, yeah.
you're already like the cobwebs are kind of going away,
Yeah.
and you're finally starting to be able to look at reality for what it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But congratulations. Remember, one day at
Congratulations,
a time.
brother.
When people say literally one day at a time, I literally believe it's literally one day at a time.
Sometimes it's seconds at a time, because I
oh,
don't know about you, but I struggle. Okay,
yeah.
look, like I gave my life to the Lord. I should say we gave our lives to the Lord. My wife and I, who's probably watching. Hi, baby.
Oh, she says she has her class.
Yeah, she's actually doing a class. So we work with at-risk youth, and she's actually doing a class right now for makeup for the knuckleheads that don't do the straight 6 weeks. And so they're on there right now, and she said that she was gonna. This will probably be part of the
Oh, well, that's
part of their
good.
makeup. But either which way, we gave our lives to the Lord about 11 years ago, so in 2013. It's been a while. But either which way, I mean, no matter what, we struggle. We're human. We're all walking in a human condition,
Yeah.
okay? And none of us walks a perfect walk, okay? Even when we serve the Lord, everybody, expects like this, like, oh, well, you don't cuss, you don't smoke, you don't this, you don't that, and it's like, you know what, bro, like the things that I've been exposed to in my life, I can never be unexposed to them.
Yeah.
It's already part of what I've,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it is what it
Why,
is.
why would you want to be you wouldn't be who you are?
For sure. And as a matter of fact, we took a student to dinner last night, and he was with his girlfriend. And one of the things I wanted him to know was like, hey, bro, you know what I mean? Like we all struggle. And one of the things that I never regret the only thing that I've ever regretted in my entire life in doing everything that I've ever done is hurting my wife
Yeah.
because she didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Anything that I've ever done to hurt her.
Love
But
that.
other than that, it was like, hey man, if you're rolling up and I'm active, this is what I'm doing. And if you
Yeah.
get caught up in that whirlwind,
That's
that's
what
on
it is.
you.
Yeah.
That's on you. You know what I mean? Like, you I didn't invite you.
Yeah.
You just wanted to come hang out.
Yeah.
And if you get caught up, I don't want to hear
That's
it.
on you.
That's it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And that's just how I roll. So the thing is
That's
like,
how I roll.
if you come around my circle and you get caught up, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear all that.
Whichever circle.
Which
Yeah, whichever circle.
yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat for 49.99 from Pow. Is that what it says? Pow B. Yeah, shout out to you. Appreciate that.
Nice.
Right?
Fam, yeah, heck yeah,
I love that.
keep it going. So either which way, like, those things, I've never regretted anything that I've ever done out there on the street because I've always been straight with the people who are around me.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
what I'm doing. You get caught up, that's on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to hear no crying later,
Yeah.
But we're gonna have some crazy memories though.
Yeah.
You know,
And memories is all we have,
that's it. And
good or bad.
good or bad, right? And so, but now, you know what I mean? Like the things that I've been through, now I'm able to help those who are on their journey to go that way. And it's like, I never tell people what they should do. Don't do this, don't do that. I don't
Yeah.
do that.
Like fools, you know what you're doing.
My thing is like, if you do this, this is probably gonna happen. If you do this is probably what's gonna happen. So I give, like, hey man, if you decide you want to go the road of gang banging and getting high and doing all those things, then it's gonna lead probably down these three roads.
Yeah.
You're either gonna end up in prison, you're gonna end up dead, or you're gonna end up somewhere
Because
messed up.
everything has a consequence,
For sure.
even if it's good or bad.
Or bad, right?
Every single thing you do does have a consequence.
Absolutely. And if you decide to change what you're doing now, get yourself a diploma, get a little education, get a
Whatever
nice
it is.
job, you know what I mean? Then you're probably gonna end up going this way, you
Yeah.
know? So it's action consequence, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way that I lead my students. I don't tell them what to do. I just let them know
This is
this
what's
is the
gonna happen.
consequence of the things that you do one way or the other way.
Yeah.
It's up to you, at the end of the day. So
That's
that's
good
what we
though.
do. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's super good.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I was gonna ask you something. What was I gonna ask? What has been your favorite episode of Indicted TV?
So I've watched quite a few now.
Oh, nice.
So remember when I first came on, I
You didn't,
said I've
you,
never watched one, you know.
yeah, yeah.
And so I'm gonna have to be a little biased and say that Ruben was my favorite
Ah,
episode.
come on, man. I thought you didn't do favoritism.
I do. Right? But you know what? I'm gonna say that probably Shane was my favorite.
I like Shane too.
Probably Shane was my favorite.
I've been trying to get him back, but he's like, yeah, oh yeah, which Shane?
Shane
The
that
bank
does the
robber?
tattoos.
Oh, okay.
Does the
Yeah, he was
tattoos.
one of my faves
When,
too.
got locked up. He was the first episode that I ever watched from beginning
Okay.
to end. I watched a few now, but he
Okay.
was probably like my favorite. The younger one.
Yeah. The
The
older
younger one.
one is
Yeah.
a bank was a 27.
The dude that's all tatted up in his
No, I
face.
know which
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's good. He's really good on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed his story, and just, sharing, because I think that transparency is super important. And not everybody wants to be transparent because, like when you sit there and you open up, you leave yourself open to criticism and, disrespect or whatever. But, at the end of the day,
You have to be able
if
to.
if you're above that, then who cares, right?
Hey,
And he was.
yeah, and I also feel like when people actually go through hard life as a young kid,
Right.
when they actually, people could fake the funk and hey, I've been through this and woo, 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 people could do that all they want. But when you actually go through it, like for him as a child,
Right.
it doesn't matter what anybody says.
For sure.
This is my life and I have a great life and I've overcome everything and hey, you can say what you want. Or, like you like even yourself or even myself, like, we went through what we went through, but God is good.
All the time.
He's changed like things don't affect you the same anymore. Like you're not gonna respond the way you would respond before.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
me, like I've grown so much. Like, do I want to respond in the response in the comments? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends what kind of mood I'm in. Like, and I will tell you, and I will tell them like, oh, yeah, I'm only responding because I'm in a good mood.
Right. Well, I've seen a couple. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a couple of responses where people come at you kind of weird, and I'll hit them up like, "Fool, why are you just a jackass?" You know what I mean? Like, why you
What
gotta
is
be
it?
that way? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like, but it's just the way people feel about themselves at the end of the day.
absolutely. So whatever their how can I say this? Like, whatever their insecurities are, they want to push them off on other people so they feel
Like, it's
better.
okay,
Yeah.
like,
It's like, hey, fool, if you need a hug, it's all good. I'll give you an air hug. Like,
yeah, like it's like I always say, wait, whatever happens, don't panic.
absolutely.
It's just what it is, and people, especially out here in the real world, like we have to appreciate good and bad, bro.
Right.
Like I'm sorry you had a bad day, but appreciate it because what if you don't have a good day at all tomorrow?
Well, one of the things that I've really come to hold on to that really stays close to my heart is that I always feel like the more gratitude that I have in my heart, right, the harder it is for me to have a bad day, because there's so much to be grateful for, right? I mean, I know what it's like to live in a concrete box. I know what it's like to live like that, and so for me, when to be able to like. I remember, me and my wife were talking about this the other day. Like, I remember when I would like tell the Lord, like, man, Lord, like, I can't wait to be in that place of just being able to just take my wife out on a date and not have to worry about like, do I have enough money?
Hmm.
And we're like totally in that space right now. Like, you
Love
know what I mean?
that. Yes.
I'm not rich by, that'd be,
Right.
but I know how to budget.
I'm
Okay.
always on a budget.
And I teach people budgeting. I teach our youngsters budgeting and stuff like that. And so, like, but we have more than what we need. I mean, way more than what we need for sure. But at the end of the day, like, if my wife's like, hey, baby, you want to go get something? Yeah, let's go. Boom. I don't have to think like, oh man, do I have enough money in the bank? Things like that. Like, I'm in a really, really comfortable place. And
Good.
it's an awesome, awesome place to be,
Yeah.
And that's something to have, to be grateful for,
'Cause
right?
you work so hard for it.
Absolutely. Well,
And not
nobody's
even
giving me anything,
and
dude.
not
Like,
even like work so hard like financially, but you work so hard on yourself.
for sure. Well, the thing is like when change comes,
It just
like
comes.
you have to battle yourself
Yeah.
because the natural self always wants to go into that mode of like, this is what I know
Mm.
and this is what I'm comfortable with and this is who I am, right? We have to really get into that place of like, I'm not that person no more. I want to be a different Joe. I'm not Camel from Uptown Whittier no more. I'm Joe Luna, who's like, a working stiff now. You know what I mean? And
I get you.
you
I'm
get what
still
I'm saying?
nagging on you.
Yeah. For sure. Well, I'm not Catwoman no more. I'm not. You know what I mean? That's just being straight. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, like when we talked about last time, I never went out, I never went out backwards, never did any of that kind of
Yes.
stuff, right?
No,
But
I understand
but
what
at
you're
the end of the
saying.
day, I'm also not active anymore. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm
Of course
not.
not.
I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. I don't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I go to my neighborhood for other, for things,
For
and
work and to
and
helping and
sometimes I run into homies right there, and it's like, what's up, dog? You know what I mean?
hey.
And we have a chat, and a lot of my in-laws, I mean, I think I mentioned this last time I was
Mhm.
here that my wife, all her family is from my neighborhood. Her mom, her dad, her uncles, her cousins, her
But
brothers.
everybody's not there
You
anymore.
know, but they're still
Besides, I'm sure there is, but I
right.
understand what you're saying.
You get
Like,
what I'm saying?
it
Like.
comes, you already did what you had to do. You're not there. You survived it, and now you're living your best life.
Right, right, for sure, absolutely.
You,
And when you say living my best life, I mean that's 100%. That's 100%.
I
Because
feel like I'm living my best life.
awesome, I love that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, because we turn the page. We turn the page rather than getting stuck. We all know this phrase, the phrase "stuck on stupid," right? Rather than being stuck on stupid, we've changed the page, and now we're like, and no disrespect to anybody who's out there doing their deal. I mean, if you're
no,
out
no,
there
at
and
all.
that's what you're doing, man, hey, I just pray that what I mean. You stay alive, you don't get life in prison. You know what I mean, and you come to that place of coming to that place within yourself of wanting to change. Hopefully you help somebody down the line. But either which way, if you're doing that, that doesn't mean you're stupid or you know what I mean. I don't mean to
Yeah,
disrespect anybody like that. But what I am saying is that when you get caught up in your own mamadas kind of thing, that there's hope.
yeah.
There's
It's,
always hope.
there is hope. You know, sometimes like just as like a perfect example, I'm gonna tell you guys, like you're so lost on drugs and like there's schizophrenics and you use drugs and like for example my cousin that just passed away, like how does he come back from within himself after he realizes he murdered his own mom
Mm,
and he decapitated her?
right, right.
Like how do you come back from that
Well, there's
within yourself?
well, there's something that has to happen, and I'm gonna tell you, it's just one word, okay? But it's a super important word, and it's forgiveness. You know, when we do things, you know what I mean? Like I've done some messed up stuff in my life, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? And I'm not gonna get too deep into what those things are, but I've heard a lot of different people in a lot of different ways for a lot of different reasons, none of them were good, but either which way, like once I received that forgiveness, I had to learn how to forgive myself too,
yeah,
and then once I got past that, then you make amends and things like that, and you learn to forgive, and
yeah.
that helps you to be able to release everything
Yeah,
that holds
because
you
that's what
down.
we like us, our family, like we've thought about. Like, I'm sure she forgave him. We understand. Like, us, our family are not like, oh, we hate him or anything. They're just like, we're just like, damn, he has to deal with that
For
himself,
sure.
you know?
Absolutely. That's
Let's,
heavy, man.
yeah, let's move a little forward. So, I don't know if I asked you this last time, but what was the nicest thing that you experienced while you were incarcerated?
Oh
Did I
man.
ask you that last time?
I don't think you did. I don't even think you asked me what was the worst thing I
Because
experienced,
you just said all kinds of stuff.
I did. I was going on and you were just kind of
I'll
like
ask that. I'll ask you after.
okay, all right. So you know what? I remember this one day. We were out on the yard, and I think it was my birthday, and we made a bunch of pruno. You know what I mean? And we actually had it in a big old igloo. You know what I mean? And it was kind of crazy because like we're out there drinking, and it was between yards, between first and second yard, and the cops seen us out there, and it was like they could have went and got us, but I think they were kind of like, are you sure you want to go up to those fools and tell them to go lock it up or like, And it was just a really,
Nice
really
time.
good day. And my birthday's in March, so March is always beautiful weather. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not hot, it's not cold. And I just remember like being out there with the homies, and everybody was super cool, and there was no static on the yard,
Everybody was G'd up.
everybody was G'd up, everybody was buzzed up, everybody was just kind of cruising along, and it was a really, really good day.
Nice.
And so, I've had those moments. I even had a moment when I was in the shoe, and I remember I was coming back from a visit, and the shoe cops right there, they had a lot of respect for me, and I was walking in from a visit on my birthday, and they confettied me.
Oh, that was cool.
Which was a trip because I was coming in, you're locked up, you got your handcuffs on, and I was walking into the Sally port, and all of a sudden I got hit on the top of the head.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I was like, what the heck? And it was just all kinds of confetti. It was like, hey, fool,
Aw.
happy birthday, man. And I was like,
Oh, that's
oh,
super
dude,
nice.
yeah. So that was
That's
super
super
cool.
memorable.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you guys. Oh my God, how memorable is it? He's getting confetti while he's cuffed.
Yeah, I got
It's the nice part of the
it
guards
was
trying to make your day.
for sure.
Well, good
And
thing you were in a good mood because if you were in a bad mood, if you would
yeah, I
have
would
had
be
a bad
like, what the
visit,
flip fool?
you would have flipped.
But it got all crazy, right? No, but it was that was a cool little moment. You know
That's
what I mean?
nice. That's super nice.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
cool. So
so what was the worst thing?
there's a lot, but probably one of the things that sticks out in my mind the most. Uh, and I don't mean to get too graphic here, but I remember
Graphic is good sometimes
well,
for the channel, I'm gonna say.
okay, okay, we'll get graphic about it, but not too graphic. So there was this guy that was on my tier, and I was in the county jail still, and I was in the hole, and there was this dude that at the time, like the whole neighborhood, there was a lot of green lights and stuff like that, right? That was happening during that time. So remember, this is like the early 90s,
90s.
you know. And so there was a kite that came that said that, like, like, hey man, like when this fool hits the ground, like he needs to stay there, you know.
Yeah.
And so they kind of came at me like that, but
Oh, dang.
when they come at me like that, I'm like, who, well, where, when, why, and da da da
You
da.
learned.
For sure, well, no, no, I had a good enough clecha in my life to
Yeah.
know that you don't just don't take people at their word, you
Yeah.
know. So they kind of bypassed me and they went to somebody else. Yeah, they
Ah.
bypassed me and they went
They
to
just
somebody else. And so, don't get me wrong. I mean, he has something coming, So when the doors opened, I just remember that when I walked out, like the person that they bypassed me for went and they were hitting this dude,
hmm
But like when I came out, it was already happening. And so they were like hitting this dude in the face, just all face shots, pat, pat, pat. And so when he turned around, he saw me. I remember he said my name. He was like, Camel, and his eye was actually hanging
Oh my
down.
God.
So I hit him and I popped that eyeball. I felt it burst underneath my
Oh,
hand.
that's
And
pretty
and
gross.
I hit him like maybe like 4 or 5 times, bing, 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 and he hit the ground. And I just remember that like it was just blood all over me because of what happened. The guy who actually did what was the deal, he got away. But because I had so much blood on me
You
from doing what
couldn't,
I
yeah.
did, they were like, "Hey, man, you know what I mean?" They pulled me to the side, and that was a pretty gruesome moment. But
Oh,
trip out on this. This is the irony of that moment. That guy who actually was doing the hit, I ran into him like 10 years later. I'm in the shoe now in Corcoran, and I'm at a visit, and and my visit had just ended, and a homie called me. He's like, "Hey, dude, is that Camel from here?" And I was like, "Yeah, fool, what's up, dog?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, so and so," and I was like, "I don't remember you, dog." He's, "You remember me, fool?" He's like, "Remember what happened back in the county jail, blah blah
with
blah,"
the
and he
eye.
started throwing some names out there. And I was like, "Oh yeah, what's up, fool?" He was like, "You know what's crazy, dog? I lost my eye too." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, dude." He was, "I ended up getting hit, and I got hit in the eye, and I lost my eye too." And I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." Yeah. So, and
Wow.
like 10 years later, it was a trippy little moment right there where
Dang,
I
eye for an eye, huh?
an eye for an eye.
Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, can you take that exit off of there?
That was a
Bothering me.
crazy crazy little moment right there.
Well, shout out
So
to everybody on the live. It's 179 live watchers. Should we do any well, no, I think has anybody give you a hard time about going Christian?
I don't care.
That's right.
I don't care, homie.
I mean,
Like,
because it doesn't matter. I mean, you're in the streets, like,
here's the
and
thing.
you're
Look,
not going back to jail, so
the thing is I've always given my life and my loyalty to things that could hurt me. You know what I mean? And now, and that
God could hurt
the
you,
the,
bro.
the, the loyalty, the loyalty and the things that I've always given myself to have always brought death. Now I bring something that brings life.
Life.
Do you think that I'm gonna step
No.
back and now all of a sudden be like, it's the worst thing that I hate, and like I don't mean to judge anybody or anything like that, but you have these fools that were out there that say like, hey homie, I did all this, that, or whatever, and now they're Christian and they want to be all like, yeah, but like I don't want no problems. I'm like, you know what?
Like, be yourself.
Like, hey fool, like I don't care if this is what I stand for and this is who I am now. You know what I mean? This is this
I
is
love that you said
this is
that.
this is who I am. This is what I stand for. And I wasn't shy about this over here. Do you think I'm gonna be shy about this
But
now?
you're still living your life normal. You're just not freaking committing crime. But
For
there's
sure.
nothing like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
like you
So
said, like there is some people that did live the same life and now they're pastors or Christian, whatever. I'm everything in one. I always say that, right? And it's
for
like, oh,
sure.
they won't even talk about it or like, Like, bro, stop being judgmental,
Let,
first of
let,
all.
let, let me let me tell you something. If somebody tried to break into my house, I'm gonna freaking lay your ass out. You ain't coming into my house.
Yeah, remember you have to shoot
Like
once.
this is my deal.
You got a little. You have
The
to
way
do a
the way that
round,
I
a
see it.
notice round.
Okay, I have a wife. I have two daughters. I have a grandson that live in my house. I lay my life down at that doorstep when I walk home. Okay,
Hmm.
once I walk through the door, that's where my life is. Okay, it's at
That's
that
right.
doorstep. And if anybody comes to try to violate that, you
You
you you
have
got
to.
something coming, right?
Yes.
At my store where I work at, I'm a manager there. Okay, you come in try to hurt my employees or try to hurt any of my staff, I'm coming. I mean, you know what? Trust me, when things go wrong, the first person they're calling is Joe. Call Joe, you know, and here I come. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and and you know, and I'm gonna protect people that need protecting. You know, because
Yes.
that's just part of who I am now.
Yeah.
You know, and so therefore, like if they want to give me a hard time about being a Christian, or whatever, I don't
Yeah,
care.
bro. Like
You
I
know what I
said.
mean? It's like I didn't care about what you thought of, what society thought about me when I was banging. You think I'm gonna care about what fools think
Yeah.
about me now that I serve the Lord? I don't
Yeah.
care. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's not my concern. You know, so
It's not anybody's.
uh,
It's not nobody's concern, right?
it's I mean it's my
Just
concern. You know,
yours.
it's mine. You know,
How hard was it for you to adjust? Like, I know it was a little hard because, you kind of went back and forth with the dabbing on the drugs and things like that. But, like, once you got a hang of it, like, how hard was it?
to adjust,
Mm-hmm.
it was scary. It was really, really. You know, when I first gave my life to the Lord, I was in a men's home. You know, and when I came out, it was really a hard adjustment because, like, I could talk a good one. And the thing is like, with my wife and my kids, um they always, whenever I would tell them that I wanted to stop doing what I was doing, I always meant it. But time made me a liar because I would always go back to doing what I knew how to do. When it's time to change, when that change happens within you, um the the trust that people have to have in you in order for you to walk out your new life, it has to be earned. They choose to give it to you because you said, "Hey, man, I changed now." You
Yeah,
know how
because
many times I
yeah,
did
because
that?
we changed so many
I
times.
said that so many
Yeah.
times, right? And so, time had to happen, but the adjustment is really hard because, your whole life is always about the one thing when you're in your addiction, right? It's a
Mhm.
very selfish thing
Yeah.
because all you're thinking about is you and what you have to do in order to
And nothing
stay.
matters, just you and you're getting high.
That's it. It's very selfish, right? And the thing is when you're married, like, marriage is a selfless endeavor, like, and I'm very pro marriage. I mean, I think that getting married is the second most important thing that you could ever do in your entire life, with the exception of giving your life to Jesus. Other than that, getting married is the second most
I,
important thing you'll do.
I agree
Yeah.
because obviously people get married and it's like they're like cheating and things like that. When you're actually living a real marriage and nobody is like out doing,
Mhm.
like cheating, like
For sure.
life is God will guide you guys correct.
Absolutely, but it's very selfless. And the thing is that most of the time we're selfish people, right? Like, I want how this person makes me feel good. I want this, I want that, and they're giving that what I want, right? But the thing is when you're both in that mentality of like, I want to serve my wife, and my wife is in the thought process of I want to serve my husband,
Hmm.
and we're both in that
It
place, it's
works.
super rewarding because it's like you go beyond what I want, and I think to myself, what do you need?
Hmm.
And I want to serve that,
Yeah.
right? And she's in the same place, you're in the same place, and that makes for a great
So
marriage.
everybody's just happy. Obviously, you have your moments where it's just normal.
Yeah.
It can't be freaking all day long,
Dude,
right?
at the end of the day, you live in close quarters with somebody, you're gonna bump elbows. You're
Yeah,
gonna
as long
bump
as we
elbows,
both
man.
know that we're good, that's what matters,
Right. Yes, ma'am. So yeah, so it's great. So I'm a big proponent of marriage for sure.
Good.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
What did you prefer, like doing time in mainline or in the shoe?
Oh, to mainline all day long, fool. Like,
I mean, I don't know.
contact visits. You get, you're getting a package once a month. You go full draw, $140. You know what I mean? Like, when you're in the shoe, it's, you're getting one package a year, no phone calls. All your visits are behind glass for an hour. You know what I mean? And so it's just night and day, man, all day long. Don't get me wrong. I mean, in the shoe, like, you're back there and you're exposed to people that, if you're going down that road and that's where you want to go, you're going to get exposed to all the right people.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're just trying to do your time,
And getting
get
out,
in, get out,
yeah.
right? the main line. But you can get caught up anywhere you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to myself like, dude, like you're sitting in the shoe, right? You got you got thousands of people just sitting in the cell. How you getting in trouble?
Yeah.
But
That's
it happens all the
yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just part of the lifestyle, man.
How did you deal with the shoe program mentality?
What do you mean?
Is there like a like mentally
Well, I mean, the thing about the shoe, right? I was in Corcoran shoe,
when
and
it was like super?
oh, well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, dude, all shoe programs are gonna be, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I've seen plenty of people break down. I've seen plenty of people lose it. I mean, I was there when people were taking nose dives into the corner of their bunk because the bunk is
What?
because they're trying to kill themselves,
Wait, say that again.
So what they would do is they would stand on top of the sink and they would nose dive into the corner of the bunk, which is pure cement, trying to kill themselves and not be successful, right? And so,
That's terrible.
well, I mean, but hey, man, the shoe will break you down. And I'm
Yes.
gonna tell you like this, Negra, that like, a lot of people don't realize this, right? But I'm gonna put you up on game, and for those of you who've been in the shoe, you know what time it is, right? So the shoe is a mental it's meant to break you down, okay? And this is what I mean by that. When you're on a mainline yard, right? Your bunks are one on top of the other. So say for example I get in an argument with myself,
I'm
whatever.
going to my bed.
Yeah, before I go on my bunk, you go on your bunk, and I have to see you, because we're separated because we're just one on top of the other. And then you cool down and everything. It's like, hey, fool, Spencer,
Yeah.
whatever. And they're like, all right, dog, blah blah blah. In the shoe, you're side by side. You ain't never getting away from it. So if you're heated and you're looking at that fool like, like
Oh,
there's no,
yeah.
and it's meant to breed violence. It's meant
Yeah.
for that. It's
That
meant so you
sucks.
could never get away from your celly because you're both in lowrider bunks and you got to look at each other all the time and there's no getting away from that fool. So, it's meant to breed that violence, right?
Yeah.
And don't think that that's done by accident.
It's
Okay,
done on purpose,
that
huh?
is done on purpose because I'm gonna tell you like this: at any time on any yard at any place, the inmates will always outnumber the guards.
Yeah.
So if the prison can keep everybody with their eyes on each other rather than on the staff, what happens? You keep yourself safe that way
Yeah.
because now you're fighting amongst yourself.
Yeah.
I don't got to worry about you. I'm cool. But if everybody decided to have a change of mentality, you would begin to say like, you know what, man, like,
That makes sense.
and in the shoe, I mean, I don't know how it is now, but when I was in the shoe, it was mandatory that you read the Title 15, which is the prison rule book. It was mandatory that you were up after breakfast with with your shoes on, bunk rolled up. You know what I mean? You're exercising, your mandatory yard, and you're gonna educate yourself because the thing is like
Don't waste your time.
when you're educated and you know what the rules are, nobody could come over here and say and take advantage of you. They said, no, nope. I know all you cops have your own rules, but this is what the Title 15 says. So if
Yeah.
you want to get over,
Oh, that's good.
and so when you educate yourself that way, it's harder for them to get over on you. So
That's
that was the way that it
definitely
was when I was there.
that's really good though. That I mean, I'm hoping the guys are still like doing that.
No, I tell my students all the time, right? So I have students that are between the ages of 12 to 22. Okay, that's the age range, 10 years. Okay. I tell them all the time, you don't want to listen to your mom. You don't want to get up early in the morning. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to make up your bed. You don't want to do any of that. Go to prison. Guess what you're going to do?
All of
Not
that.
only do you got to listen to the cops, but guess what the homies are going to tell you? You're going to have to roll up your butt. You're going to learn Title 15. You're going to have your shoes on. You're going to work out. All this stuff that your parents are telling you to do, you're going to end up doing. But
Yeah.
now it's not coming from your mama. It's coming from,
The guards and the
no,
homies.
the homies. Yeah,
And then you're
so
gonna have to.
that's right. You know? So might as well learn it out here, than go in there and
Yeah.
have to do it like that, So I tell them this stuff all the time, and
So you only deal with like troubled kids, like you said.
they're at risk. They're at risk.
Ah.
So the majority of our students, probably about 80 to 90% of our students are either on probation, they've been in trouble with at school fights, things like that, and so they have to. What we do is we help them meet the terms of their probation, or we help them to meet the terms of whatever they need in order to get back into school and things like that. So
Good.
we teach things like what job readiness, gang diversion, substance abuse, victim awareness. What else? There's like three other ones. Can't think of right now, but we teach them all these
That's
different things in
good.
order to.
I always kind of wanted to be in that like field, but I guess in a way I'm kind of am in that field. I
You are absolutely,
feel right. I always wanted to, but I just feel like I don't have a patience for the teenagers.
well, you know what, man? This class that we have now, when we first start off, one of the things I ask them is like, who needs to be here? Who needs to be here, right? And in this
Yeah.
particular group, I mean, 95% of them, boom, they have their hands up, Okay, so what are you here for? I'm on probation. I got to fight at school. Da da da. Da. Okay, perfect. You know what I don't need? I don't need to be here because I'm purely volunteer. I don't get paid to do what I do. Okay, I'm
Ah.
100% volunteer. So I let them know that, like, hey man, I'm here to help you, not because I'm making money from you guys, but because I care
You
about you
enjoy
guys.
it.
I do, you know what I mean? And hey man, sometimes it's, you know
You're
what I
like,
mean?
hey man, this is too much.
Sometimes it's,
Moms,
so,
break me
hey
off.
man, sometimes more rewarding than others, but at the end of the day, I want them to know that because I really want them to understand and know that, like, hey
Yeah.
man, I'm not here because I'm getting a paycheck from you guys.
Yeah.
I am here because I give a shit about you, man.
Yeah.
I've sat where you're sitting. I've been in places that you've never been. You know what I
And you
mean?
better hope you
And
never
and
go.
and I want you to not go to those places, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I let them know that
I
kind of
love
stuff,
that. I love that.
and this group is a great group, and they've been receiving a lot, and
Nice.
probably the most important part from all the things that we teach and stuff like that is we mentor, and I mentor with all the kids one on one, and I mentor thousands of kids at this point. We've
I
been doing
love
it for
that.
10 years, and when you talk to these kids, they tend to open up in private more than
Yeah.
they are in a class setting, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably the most important part when it comes to the classes, is the
That's
mentoring,
good.
so I
Yeah.
enjoy that. I love that.
Makes
When
you
they
feel good.
well, not only that, but it's like, when I needed help, somebody was there for me. They
Yeah.
need help. Somebody needs to be there
Yeah.
for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the Lord put us in that place. That's where we are.
Might as well, you got to do it.
And that's where we
That's
are.
right.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
right. Shout out to everybody on the live. Yeah, shout out to every single one of you guys on the live. So wait, before I ask you your next question,
Yes, ma'am.
can we give up some memberships? So you guys, I'm gonna be giving maybe like five free memberships to my followers. And I don't get to pick, you guys. I don't get to pick who wins. It just does it automatically.
What are the benefits of the membership?
You get to watch things before they come out. You get to have certain emojis.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it's like like the
Free
little laughing
memberships
ones.
to
My
Oh, wait,
followers. I'm like, wait. So yeah, you guys. So we're gonna pick members, free memberships right now. Five or okay, five.
can I get one? No, I'm just kidding.
You can't
I'm
pick.
just kidding, folks. Just playing.
Okay, you guys. So D got one. T Loke. I can't really read, but shout out to you guys. Now you guys are able to use cool little emojis. Yes. I don't know. I can't really read certain ones, but he's gonna take us back. But shout out to you guys. You guys are new members. New members. Let me ask you, are your tattoos?
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats, you
Yeah,
guys.
congrats, guys.
Welcome to the team. Also, let me ask you, did you get all your tattoos in jail besides the born again one?
The majority of them, yeah. I have three, well, four that I got out. I have one right here. After I got married, my wife got my wife's name around. I got the born again here. This one right here is actually Hebrew. It says Yeshua our Redeemer, because my wife and I wanted to get a tattoo where people would ask us what it meant, and then
And
we
you
could
would
share the
say,
gospel with them, right?
"Oh, that's cool."
And then me and my daughter actually got a matching tattoo.
Okay, was that her first tattoo?
It was no, it was her second.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So her and I have a matching tattoo. So those are the only four that I actually got out on the street. Everything
Nice.
else is done in prison for sure. All single needle work.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sleeved. My whole back's done and my sides and so.
Hey, when you got out, did they hurt you?
What do you
Like
mean?
now that you're a little older?
What do you mean?
Like getting tattoos?
I'm a glutton for punishment, man. You know what's funny about that is like one of my favorite things. You know what I like to do is like if I get a mosquito bite, I like to scratch it until it
Ah,
bleeds,
you know what?
and then spray alcohol on it, dude. Oh, that's my favorite thing in the world, dude. I'm like,
Rip it. And I'm like, bro, there's like no blood in there.
I'm like, just go, like
No, bro, you
oh,
are
dude,
some sick ass
I'm a
food.
sick ass kid, dude. I don't even care. So like when I get my tattoo, probably the one that got me the most was like actually this one in here because it's like right up
Oh,
in here, like right up
yeah.
there. I remember when I got it, like it was back here and it was making my eye water and
Yeah.
it was yeah. So that one was probably the one that felt the weirdest, but I fell asleep on the one like my whole back is sleeved up, so like I fell asleep on that one.
Share a prison tattoo story.
Okay, so
And I
when
don't
I
want to hear like all these fools like okay, sorry guys, but please don't come on my channel. Okay, you could, but all my tattoos I earned them. Like, bro, relax.
no, not all of them are like that.
But tell me a cool story.
Okay, so like my whole chest, right, is all sleeved up, right? And
Dang.
and so I'll tell you this one right here. So this is and for those of you who have tattoos, you know what time it is, right? So um I had a lot of action with the Uras when I was in there, right? So
The ones
when
that
I
confettied you?
huh?
The ones that confettied you?
Well, the thing is I we had second and third watch are first watch is the nighttime crew. They start from 10 till 6 in the morning, and then you have your 6 in the morning cops to 2 p.m. and then from 2 p.m.
You got
to
the 10.
right. That's for second and third watch, right? So second and third watch cops, I had a good rapport with them. Their thing was always like, Camel, I'll let you do whatever. Just don't have nobody hit in the building, fool.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, do me a favor, man. Don't hit homies' houses. If you do, be cool. Just be cool. So
Yeah.
we had that understanding. So when it was time for me to get tatted up, it was like, hey, fool, I'm gonna go. Like, all right, cool. And they would actually, when sergeants or lieutenants or whatever would come through, they would hit the door and be like, if it was three, if it was a three like that, that meant it was a sergeant. If it was one, it meant it was a lieutenant, and if it was two, it meant it was a captain, right? So they
Oh,
were like, let's go, be cool.
yeah.
So I started my chest piece, and so the homie like he placed my whole chest piece, and he put the whole piece out, and then he did like probably about a third,
Oh.
right? And then that night they told me that I was going to level 3 the next day. So it was like, oh shit! Like, so I told the in the morning time, like, hey man, when I come back from breakfast, dude, I gotta go in the. So from the first day to the next day, I had to get the rest of my chest
Oh
done.
my God, you were in pain.
Oh, bro, like, oh man, that was painful, yeah, because
And then you
everything
had to
was
kind of hide
fresh.
it.
Well, everything was fresh. I didn't care about hiding. I just wanted to get it done. But I'll tell you what, when you get everything done the first day, the next day those are all fresh cuts, and so they had to go in there
Oh.
and just, you know what I mean? And so
Yes. And then
that's
you get no numbing cream in there.
no hell no. Fool.
Oh my
So from one day to
goodness.
the next day, I got my whole chest blasted,
You're
like.
down.
Oh man, well, it was more like, hey, fool, like, and I'll tell you what, I have a little church right here, and there's a cross that's on top of that church. That cross is probably the most painful part of all my tattoos that I had.
The little
'Cause it was
baby
like,
one.
it was like, oh,
Oh.
it was, oh man, dude, that was painful. But that's probably my craziest prison tattoo story. Yeah.
All right. So maybe like a little last question or so before
Okay.
maybe we'll ask the guys, the chat for some questions. But
Sure.
do you have a story that, or like that you haven't shared that you didn't share last time that you want to share now?
Um. Well, man, there's a lot. Did I mention about Willie, right? Like,
Yeah.
that he ended up being my cellies, my crime meets
Your co-defendants.
stepson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was that. I mean, that I could think of off the top of my head now.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but it's just too many.
But if somebody has a question, I'll be more than happy to
Yeah.
answer that, so
Does anybody want to ask Joe a question before we end? Once had a cereal, no milk. AK cereal. Killer. What? Chill.
there's a question right there that says from POW that says, "Do you have any prison routines that you've kept since being
Oh,
out?"
that's a good one. What do you do? Because I think I asked you. Did I ask you that?
Right.
Like, what do you do? Do you still do anything that you do you still do anything from like the same way?
I exercise. Yeah. So I work out at least, and I try to get at least 3 times
Yeah,
a
don't
week,
be
but it's
hiding, don't be
anywhere between three to 5 times a week. Oh no, my daughter knows. She'll come and she's like, "Dad, you going to the gym tonight?" She knows that I'm
That's
faithful there.
you have to.
I
You
am
have
absolutely
to.
faithful there. But you know what? It's funny because I tell a lot of my students to say, because I public speak. So like, part of one of the things I do for my job is I go out into the community and I public speak. I say, you want to know where I get my public speaking skills from? From doing rutina on the shoe, because I used to call it.
Well,
So
okay, well, how would you used to call it?
well, so when we go out there, you know what I mean? It starts off, the sureños camaradas, it's time to work out. And woods, it's time to work out, you know what I mean? So today we're going to start off, blah, blah, blah. It's
Oh,
100
okay.
burpees. Boom, let's go. Boom, one, two, three. But the thing is, you're calling out to the whole yard.
And
And,
that
and
helps you out here if
it,
you use it the correct way,
absolutely. And so
like
it helped me
yourself.
to public speak out here now because now I have the confidence
Oh,
that one, you know what I mean?
nice.
And so I do a lot of public speaking now. I mean, my job, dude, they love me for that. I mean, they know I'm a great mouthpiece for the
That's so
for the
cool.
company.
And you know what? Now that you just said that, I guess like I never was a public speaker or whatever, but I guess I am now, right? But when I was in prison, when I was in the drug program, right?
Yeah.
So people we would have to be like a sisters and we would have to like I would have to like mentor, like I would have like a group and I would have to go and speak as well.
Right,
So maybe that helped me too, huh?
right. I
Now
think
that I'm
so.
thinking about it.
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you, like, I remember one time a homie, he actually asked me the question. I think, and we were out there in the yard, and he goes, "Hey, bro," he goes, "How do you think that it's gonna help you to like, because I always want to be a personal trainer. That was like my main thing. I want to be a
Yeah.
trainer, which I did. I did that
Yeah,
for
you're still doing it.
for my
You're
first
still
seven, eight
doing it,
years.
right?
Well, now I manage health food stores now, so I
Yeah.
have a lot of education. When it comes to supplements, things like that, that's my gig. That's what I do all day long. And plus, and then not only that, but I manage and I like to work the sales floor and things like that. But either which way, I that's what I wanted to do. And I remember a homie asked me one time, like, what do you think being in prison will help you with when you get out there? And I said, bro, I don't know. I haven't been out there since I was a teenager, but I'll tell you like this. I think that being out there and people trying to like gossip and talk crap or like do things like that, the kind of politics we have in here to the kind of politics out there, I think that stuff won't bother me now. And it
Yeah.
absolutely does not. Like when I think to myself, like when people start gossiping and they start talking, you know what I mean? Even
Yeah,
in
like well,
management, they start talking. I'm
it's just
like,
how it is. They're all humans. If it's not a chisme here, it's a chisme over here. It's all the same thing,
for sure.
no matter where you're at.
But at the end of the day, the politics I used to be into, lives were hanging in the balance.
That is way hard.
Now
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, you're gonna get
okay,
fired or
you
not?
get fired.
Hey, but for some people,
You
it's
know?
a law.
Well, I mean, for somebody, that's their livelihood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we have to make those decisions and things like that. But either which way, it helps me a lot because I don't get caught up in drama and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
When people come in and they start gossiping, I'm like, see little tiny ears? They're not garbage cans.
yeah.
I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, I don't care.
Little
You know?
tiny.
I got tiny
Yeah,
ears.
they're kind of tiny. It's kind of tiny. You should have never told me.
I don't, so when my wife says, you never listen to me, I'm like, have you seen my ears? They're freaking tiny. They don't hear
No, like,
nothing.
should have never told me now. They're gonna be like, oh,
It's all
was
good.
clowning Joe.
It's all good. Hey, my ears, it's all good. I'll clown them before you clown me. You know what I mean? Nobody
Yes.
can clown me better than me.
Best prison spread for you.
Oh,
Best prison food or spread for you?
so the other day my daughter asked me, and she's sitting right there. She was like, "Dad, you gotta make a spread."
Did you make
know what I mean? Well, I haven't yet. Cause she was like, "I got the chili ramens." So it's got to be
Oh,
chili ramens. It's got to be the beef stew, right? The beef stew. You get that. You gotta have the chicharrones. You gotta have the Doritos Cool Ranch. For my personal opinion,
yeah.
a lot of mayonnaise. A lot of mayonnaise.
I'm all about the mayonnaise. I like mayonnaise.
Yeah.
And it just makes things better.
Dude, like my wife, she trips out because like when we go to like events, my wife's three things that people always request from her: potato salad, macaroni salad, or chili beans. That's her gig, right? But her chili beans, I throw mayonnaise in it.
Fire.
Fire, fool, and like, the funny thing is that like everybody was like, "Ooh, that's gross." I'm like, "You haven't tried it, fool. You gotta try it." Everybody's like, "No, that's gross. How you gonna put mayonnaise and chili beans?" I'm like, "Fool,
And then
try
the beans
it."
too, a little bit.
Oh, homie, like, ugh, yeah.
Hey, you guys are gonna go. You're not even. Oh, today that's what you're gonna cook.
I want chili beans now with mayonnaise in it.
Hey, but make sure to watch out with the heartburn.
No, it's all good. But I got stuff for that. For sure. So yeah. So so the spread would be like that with and then make some tacos or burritos or whatever.
Fire.
Mm. Yeah. So I think, baby girl, I think we'll make a spread when we go home. Okay.
Super easy.
Yeah, super easy to do it.
You put beans in yours?
Um,
Depends.
sometimes, not always. No, not always. But you gotta have like I think we're gonna make one with tuna in it.
Hey,
Have you ever made a
tunas are
spread with tuna
good.
in it?
It has to be more dry though.
But I mean, but if you make a spread with tuna in it, fool, it's bomb, fool. Like,
No, I like it. I like tuna one.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
like
tuna
tuna
spread is
one.
bomb, fool.
Yeah.
Like,
You
so
gotta keep it healthy.
halfway anyway, right? Do you have any more questions?
Is there anything else, you guys, before? Is there anything you want to say that you haven't said before we close up?
No, I mean, I thank you for the opportunity to come out here and to catch up and do things like that. Also, I said it earlier and I want to say it again. If you're out there and you need help and you feel like you're in a hopeless place, there's hope.
There's hope,
There's
guys.
always, always, always hope, and don't don't give up. All right? Because no matter what's happening in your life, no matter what's happening out there, there's always a place that you can reach out to where people will be there to help you with what you need. If you need that here, please contact the show. Ask for me. I'll be more than happy to get you where you need to go in order to get what you need in order to make your life better. Because I'm going to tell you like this, brother or sister, if you're out there and you're hurting and you feel like you're in a place of desperation and you feel like you're in a hopeless place, there is always some place you could go that will help you get you where you need to be.
Yes.
Okay? Don't ever feel like nobody doesn't understand. There's always somebody who's been either deeper than where you are, or maybe hasn't been as deep as where you are, but no matter what, they'll still get you where you need to go to get what you need.
That's
Okay?
right.
So if you need help, please don't allow your pride to stop you from reaching out and asking for that help, because we all need guidance and help somewhere
Mm-hmm.
down the line. Okay?
That's right.
We always need that. And I'm gonna tell you like this, in my own personal life, I have three men in my life. Two of them are friends, one of them is family. My Nino, my godfather, and then I have a friend, Joe and Phil, and they are there for me whenever I need guidance. Okay, so if you need that, please, please do not be afraid or ashamed to reach out. Okay, because we're here
Yes.
for that.
That's right. You can hit me up or they could hit you up.
Well, if they hit you up, please send them to
That's
me, and
right.
we'll get
Yeah,
them where they need to
I
go.
got
Okay,
you.
awesome.
No, well, again, Joe, thank you. Thank you, you guys, for coming on Visiting Hour with Negra. I appreciate you guys. I will be here next Wednesday as well. I am back. I'm back.
Great to have you back. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me as your first person back.
Yeah, right. Well, we already
Yes,
been
man.
set up. We already had the date.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't forget to like, share,